Hi, I'm Kelly Glenn Kimbro, and we're standing on one of our family ranches in southeast Arizona. I'm a cattle rancher and a hunting guide. Okay, so I was born and raised on a cattle ranch in southeast Arizona, and part of our ranching was that we also did predator control for local ranchers that were our neighbors on mountain lions. So they kind of go hand in hand. So we use our stock, like our mules and our horses, for both endeavors. And when I was a little girl, I knew I was going to be a rancher and a hunter. I just knew that. And so I went through high school, and it was my dad and my mom and my grandma and my grandpa. My grandma and my grandpa lived up at this ranch that we're here right now, and then my mom and dad lived at the one where my dad lives still. And so we would trade work back and forth, and I just loved the way of life. And then when I got out of high school for 2 years, I worked on the ranches and I worked in the hunting. And then my aunt convinced me to try college for 3 years, which I did, and I'm glad I did. I have no regrets. But then I knew I was going to come back here. My roots were here. I love this way of life, and I love everything about it. I love the hard work. I love sunrises and sunsets and everything that the country has to offer us. So when you're in business as a cattle rancher and you're your own boss, and so you can determine your hours. Your livestock determines your hours a lot, but you can determine the hours that you work. You can determine your vacations. You only are answering to yourself and the land. And so there's a lot of times it's really difficult because of the climate, because you may not get rain, you may be embedded in a drought, but that's okay. You just learn to live with that, and you learn to work so that you can take care of your land and take care of your animals and take care of your family. One big benefit of doing what we do is that we're a family business, and we all share in the workload and everything, the administrative part and the labor part. Sure. So our family has a ranch that borders Mexico, and so we have been on the front lines of all of the politics involving immigration and illegal entry. And we had a barbed wire fence, and then the government came in and said they were going to fix the problem and they were going to put in a barrier. We personally on our ranch have what they call a vehicle barrier. There's two different styles that we have, and they don't stop the people. They do stop some of the vehicles. They are wildlife friendly. We're happy with that. They do keep our cattle out of Mexico. We're happy with that. We just happened to be a family that was always in the hospitality business anyway, because of the hunting and the ranch guests that we entertained in the summertime. We used to take kids in the summer from families that would send their kids down for the summer. And so we kind of naturally fell into hosting politicians. And Gabrielle Giffords was a really good friend of ours because she knew there was a problem on the border, and she utilized the fact that we would host entourages of politicians. Martha McSally's doing the same thing. She brings 21 congressmen at the same time, and they see the border, and we feed them, and we show them, we talk about the situation, the land values, everything that's involved that people don't realize. And so we just kind of naturally fit into that. Somebody has to show them that when you walk out of the city limits of a little town, there's a border and there's a country, a wide open country. And people are struggling to pass through there. It's a humanitarian thing. It's, the people coming north are definitely needing a change in their lives. We're bearing the brunt of that initial entry, which is usually just wear and tear on your land, a lot of garbage, trash. Now and then you find someone who passed away because of the elements or whatever. But so that's why we just continue to reach out and let the politicians come and see kind of what's going on down here. I love the ranching. I am blessed that I've spent my whole life working with my parents, and we always got along. And my dad and I and my grandpa were a trio that hunted the mountain lions, and that's part of our business for the depredation. And hunting a lion is a huge challenge, and it's amazing, and every day's a new day, and you're covering hundreds of square miles of country, within the year. And so I have the opportunity between the ranching and the hunting to see the 4 seasons that people really don't even realize we have. The leaves changing, and just to see the grasslands, and to see the effects of rain, and to see all kinds of wildlife. So I can't really pick out any little thing, but I love the way of life. And I have a daughter who loves the way of life. And and that's good. She's the only heir after me to this way of life, and I hope she preserves it. Our family's been here since 1896. So it's something I'd like to keep moving forward with. So I am a 5th generation, and Mackenzie, my daughter, is 6th generation on this exact ranch. Wow. Yeah. In fact, my great-grandfather homesteaded this site, and my great-great-grandfather homesteaded right over the ridge. And so we've been here a long time. I do, and we've been asked by the press a lot, especially when we would complain about borders. So we're 30 miles north of the border on this particular ranch, and we still get illegal alien traffic. And so we've been asked, why do you stay here? We stay here because we love it. We love the land. We love what it has provided us. We love what we can provide in return to the country and the wildlife, and the heritage of cattle ranching that we carry on. So, it's very important to us not to pick up and leave. If we didn't have generations of history here, there's times it gets really tough, whether it's drought or politics or the illegal immigration. And unfortunately, quite a few families along the border of the United States have sold their ranches and left, mostly because of the political situation with illegal immigration. In 1988, a Western photographer named Jay Dussard was a friend of our family's, and Ruger went to him and said, do you know a woman or a girl that does something in the firearms arena that's not championship shooting, like Olympic, anything because the thing with Olympic shooters or anybody that's in a competition, there's a point that their reign will end. And they said, we want someone who just works and carries a gun. And so he came down and took a picture, and it was a trial. He said, first off, Mr. Ruger Sr. did not really endorse and embrace having women speak for his company. Old-fashioned guy, and that's okay. He was from that world it was a man's world. And so when I came into the Ruger situation, it was like an icebreaker, because a lot of other companies had waited. They hadn't had a woman represent them either, unless it was a woman in a bikini with a machine gun. The kind of the auto shop looking calendar girls. And so it was a test. And so the first year we did it, luckily for me, the public loved it, because men could bring their wives to meet me, or their moms, or their little kids, and I could talk to all of them. And plus, I was not a celebrity. I was a person who went home and cleaned out my own stalls and pick and shovel the ditch or whatever. I worked for my living, and they did too. A lot of people that are my fans are farmers and ranchers and, hard labor kind of people who do hunting or shooting as a sport and a hobby. And so here I was someone that they could relate to, instead of someone that they felt was in a different arena than they were. 28, 29 in 2000. Actually, I think it's 28 right now and 29 in 2017. Yeah, and so I missed one show because I had a C-section. I had a C-section on December 22nd, and the show was like January 10th, and of course I didn't go. But the public was panicked. They came to the booth, and they're like, why did you get rid of Kelly? And they're like, we didn't, she had a baby. But I honestly thought they would retire me. Through the years, I went through, I was a single young woman. Then I was engaged, then I was married, then I was pregnant in publicity. Then I was a mom, and every time I thought, well, they'll find someone else now. because now I've reached another part of my life. But they kept me because everybody else in that follows me is in the same life track. You know, they're doing the same thing I'm doing. And they're working in their hunting in the middle of raising their kids or whatever they're doing. My outlook on life is I'm a really very, very lucky individual because I am living the dream. I'm living a lot of other people's dream, to be a cowgirl and to get to go hunting and to do all these things right outside my door. I've sent people pictures that I've taken like from the top of a mountain of clouds lower than I am and said, this is out of my office window. Because it is. That's what I see. I see old windmills and I see wildlife and so I'm incredibly lucky. And I'm incredibly lucky that my family had the fortitude to struggle through all those years since 1896 through droughts and the Depression. And they always found something to do as a supplemental income, like having guests to the ranch, you know, like guest ranch kind of things. So I'm lucky. And then our family is close knit and we don't fight and we don't argue and we respect each other and we work hard together. And I don't care if the day's 20 hours long or 12, we get her done. I love our heritage. So now this kind of thing makes me cry. You know, I love our country. That's why we're so vocal about protecting the front lines down here. I'm so blessed to have this way of life. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's like, you know, we get criticized for ranching and we get criticized for hunting. And we've actually formed an organization. We were partners in forming an organization. It was environmental ranching, environmentally friendly. I mean, we're trying all the time to make it right and to respect our resources. And the same deal with the hunting. We do a particular kind of hunting, and it's management. It's not going out there and trying to slaughter everything. That in the mountain lion population, we actually have a lot of mountain lions because of management. So everything I do, I try to do honestly. I try to help our neighbors and help people, I try to just keep preserving this way of life so that I can pass it on.